Hello, and welcome to this first ever second episode of the Free China Pod. Alright. Hi, Ari.
Really labored attempt.
Yeah, I was trying to be stupid, and I think it came across pretty well. Alright. I got this beautiful man sitting beside me today. Actually here in studio, aka our living room. And that's why we're using a single microphone today, so that's why the quality is probably not going to be up to snuff of the last one, and the quality of the last one was probably not super great, but whatever.
I think it's okay.
How's it being back in the most beautiful city on the planet?
It's definitely cooler in the north, that's for sure.
Yeah, what was the temperature down there today?
I left my house at like 8 in the morning and the sun was already like bright and intense, but it was breezy. You get the ocean breeze in the south, man.
Yeah, that's true. Keeps probably helps. Usually, an ocean temperature an ocean breeze generally helps keep the climate more of an average temperature.
Yeah, but it's also riding a bike, man. It's just not as hot when you're riding a bike, because every time I stop at an intersection, you could feel the heat. But when I'm just cruising, whatever, like 60 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Feels a lot better on my face.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's like, it could be like 30, 33, 34, and if you're cruising on a bike, it's not bad, but you stop at that intersection and that sun that's like, feels like it's like 4 feet off the earth, just burns you alive.
We'll see how long I stay down there before I come back to beautiful Chongli.
Get your PhD first. Make us proud.
Well, the coursework should only take like a year and a half, man.
It's not bad at all, really.
Yeah.
You'll have the same class the whole time, like a couple classes a week, 3 or 4 classes a week.
Right now, I only need to take 10 classes, basically. So I'm taking 4 this semester. If I take 4 next semester and 2 the next, I'm done with the coursework. Just write the dissertation.
Oh yeah, that's
Unless
true.
I decide to make it longer somehow.
Do yo thing.
There's like a dual program where you can go to Belgium, get like a second PhD.
Jeez.
It's the same dissertation. You just write like one dissertation, but you cover like another field's literature and like theory. So you could do like political science and anthropology, or like political science and media studies or something like that.
It's pretty cool, but that's like
To live I keep saying it's not the Netherlands. It's not the Belgium.
the Belgium. I would have to live in the Belgium, and I don't know how I feel about living in the Belgium.
I think it would be okay for a year, but be away from my husband.
Well, not only would you be
Just
away,
kidding.
not would you only be away from your beautiful husband, but you would lose out on your APRC.
Not if I already got the APRC first.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. But then you'd have to definitely extend it.
Yeah, but you can leave. Once you have an APRC, you can leave for a year or 2.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, also, to anyone listening, I apologize if you hear like loud booming sounds that sound like a cannon going off.
It is a cannon. It's a catapult.
It's something. It might be a trebuchet of sorts. But there's a huge party going on in our, what would you call it? Our
Public area.
Yeah, it's basically like a giant basketball court with no basketball hoops or nets.
It's a badminton court, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a tennis court, but there's no nets. I mean, you have to set up your own nets if you want to play badminton or whatever, but I don't know, there's like 400 people down there, and like there's some machine that they have down there that's like expelling some sort of gas.
It just explodes like every 45 minutes.
Yeah, it sounds like it seriously sounds like a giant gun going off, like they're firing a Maxim gun down there or something. But anyway, so apologies for that and the interesting sound quality, because we're trying to record out of 2 sides of one mic. But all of that aside, whatever, it is what it is. This episode, as you guys can probably already tell, is like gonna be a little more laid back. We're probably gonna record in 2 parts. And
maybe more. Depends how long.
Maybe more. We're gonna kind of feel it out as the night goes.
Depends on what happens with Brett Kavanaugh in the next few minutes.
Yeah, we gotta keep updated on that. So did you watch any of the hearings last night?
So I saw like the video. I saw what I thought was a live stream of some of the hearings where they were talking about the vote, and then it just kind of switched to like the Malaysian Prime Minister in the UN. So I kind of watched a little bit of it, but basically I read the gist of it, which is that it sounded like they were gonna hold the vote pretty soon, and then Jeff flaked out.
He does what he does best, which is follow his namesake and just flake out all the time. Well,
it sounds like we're attacking Flake for doing the right thing.
Well, yeah, he definitely did the right thing, but he like was gonna do the wrong thing, and then.
I wonder what changed his mind.
It was really weird. So I was watching most of it live, and basically, so what was it? They were talking.
Who's they?
All the people and all the senators. When I came in on it, I came in on like maybe halfway through. Actually, I don't really know, but we were talking about on our little Facebook group. Me and you were talking, and. You mentioned that it was going on, and I saw it on Twitter before I left work, and I came home and I was like, I was watching some other news or listening to a podcast, and I was like, I don't really want to watch this garbage right now. I'll just watch the highlights tomorrow. And then eventually I was like, whatever, okay, I'm just gonna get in on it and like watch it. And so I got on Twitter and started watching a live stream, and for the first while I was like intently watching, but then I like started getting like viscerally angry because the people were like,
he sent me a message like, I really don't like Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah, that was even like a little ways into it, like, because I was watching it, and then like a lot of like when I first started watching, basically they were asking people. I think that what they were trying to say was like, are we going to take it to a vote or something? And like all the Democrats were basically like not answering, and they're like I think it was Nancy Pelosi was like protesting it, saying like they were like they're not answering or something, and she's like, yeah, they're not answering because like this is unfair, like you need to like hear all these people out, and like this is like an unfair process, this is like basically like not just. And so eventually there was like people giving their statements, and they were going basically back and forth between Democrats and Republicans, and they were saying like how they felt, and then at some point they took a recess, and you could hear kind of in the background all these people talking and like going around to each other and talking, blah blah blah, and basically Flake at that point said like, I think he had already said he was going to vote to confirm him, and they were talking, so I thought it was going to be like go to the vote like today basically, but ended up, I guess today for everyone in the U.S. Saturday, yeah. Cause
I thought they don't meet on Saturdays.
I don't know. I thought that's what they were talking about. But anyway, or very, very soon. But then they came back from that intermission, and he was basically like it came to his time to speak or something, and he kind of said like, I would vote for Kavanaugh, but like I think we should have 1 week of an investigation. No more than 1 week, but like, the FBI should do an investigation. I don't know why he decided that it should be limited to 1 week. It's basically because the Republicans don't want the Dems to drag this out because they're afraid that
they're afraid they're going to do exactly what they fucking did with Merrick Rose.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but they're even more afraid because I guess it is almost exactly the same thing, because if during the midterms the House or Senate flips, then they're pretty much screwed.
But it's just the Senate that confirms.
It is. It's the Senate and it's they have the committee or whatever of the people, but I don't know that any of those seats will flip in the midterms. So yeah, you're right.
I mean, they could take the Senate, but it's less likely.
But the thing is like, even if a few people get out, it could because it's already pretty close right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And
it's basically 51 to 49.
Yeah, and right now it's the vote is basically 50-50. They're not sure because there's a couple people that might go both ways. I think all the Democrats are probably almost certain to vote no, even though there are a few.
Yeah, I heard Doug Jones was, and he's probably like the biggest, the most.
Like he's a blue dog kind of guy, like most conservative.
He's a deep South Democrat.
But I would say it's usually like him, who is it Heidkamp and Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is a huge Blue Dog Democrat, super conservative. He's in West Virginia. He's basically he is a Republican. Like he's a Republican that caucuses with the Democrats, basically.
I don't know why you say that, because like
he basically is though.
It really.
Yeah, really.
No way.
He's just most of his policies. Like he always he votes with Republicans. I would have to look at exact.
You should Google it.
I'll look up his exact voting record. But he votes with Republicans on a lot of things, and he like is super against a lot of very easy things. And
whoa, what do you mean easy things?
I feel like they should be easy ideas for the Democrats to get behind. Like,
all right, let's see. Joe
but there's a lot
third. It says.
All right, we're gonna see live, folks. This is us googling and.
I'm not gonna go through like every bill here, but.
Well, you can just look at
Trump margin. Oh, what is that? Trump's. How often Manchin votes in line with Trump's position?
There you go. That's a
61%.
That's not the worst, but it's pretty bad. Because I would say there's very few things that you should vote with Trump on.
Yeah, here, they calculated, they say predicted score, how often Manchin is expected to support Trump based on the 2016 margin. 93%. So there's a Trump plus minus. The difference between Manchin's actual and predicted Trump support scores, but minus 32. So basically they're saying because he's from a pretty red state, he's got to do some conservative stuff. But
yeah,
it's actually pretty far off.
I guess, but he's also like very in opposition to a lot of very progressive ideas, and I get it. Like
what?
Like Medicare for all. He hasn't really pushed for like background checks for guns. He's like kind of. I actually don't know exactly what his stance on abortion is.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is the worst government official? A blue dog Democrat or a left-leaning Republican?
It would depend.
Let's say a right-leaning Democrat or left-leaning Republican, just like without naming names, just like a.
It would depend. I would have to look at what policies, because there are right-leaning Republicans that are in favor of getting money out of politics, or might be in favor of things.
John McCain. And
John McCain's not left-leaning. Don't.
He's definitely getting. He pushed like clean elections shit pretty hard.
He did the little thing with Obamacare, but that was about it. Like
no, I mean he was pushing clean elections bills for a long time, even during his campaign.
So yeah,
he was pushing hard to get rid
yeah.
of politics.
So if I would say if it's between it depends
him versus Obama.
It all depends on the. No, I'd take Obama, all right, but
2008.
Him versus Hillary is a little closer, but
Yeah,
I would still take Hillary, because Hillary is actually they're almost exactly the same person. The only difference is literally the difference between like an establishment Dem and an establishment Republican is that the Dems are better on social issues. They're bad. They're good for the economy, both of them, in the sense that like they're good for corporations. They're just corporatists. Like they're good for corporations. The economy, like look at Trump. It's the same thing.
Wait, what do you mean? When you say corporatist, what policies would you say? What mainstream policies would you say that are corporatist, that support corporations but are not good for people?
Just keeping money in politics, but also like
besides that,
deregulating.
Do you think Hillary Clinton is in favor of major deregulation?
In terms of like banks, yes, she's super in bed with Wall Street. Now, in terms of like pollution, those sorts of regulations, less so than Trump for sure, 100% less so than Trump.
How about free trade?
Free trade, I think because she flip flopped on it so much that I don't know what she actually thinks.
Exactly, she pushed the what does he call it? The Pacific. What do you call that? Pacific.
TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership.
She basically was instrumental in the drafting an agreement from so many parties to TPP, and then she flipped on us.
Because Bernie, a big part of it was Bernie pushing her to the left. He pushed her to the left on a lot of those things.
Oh man, no real ideals.
Yeah, but that's exactly my thing. Is there?
Is your peanut?
Yeah, eat some.
Thanks.
Sorry for all the background noise. We're like banging on the table and eating peanuts and stuff, but
We haven't
it's all right.
started eating peanuts.
We're about to start eating peanuts, but it's it's what we do.
Spicy.
This is they are spicy. They are spicy peanuts. Was it malahuasan? They're very very spicy. Those are actually. Be careful. There's peppercorns in there that like legit like set your mouth on fire.
I love my mouth being on fire.
Yeah, I know you do. But anyway, this is a very natural, like I said, it's a very natural environment podcast today. We're really chillaxing to use the terms of the youth. Oh, look who's back. Well, our friend Abby just came in. She's going to be loud and gregarious as usual.
You're recording?
Yes. So you
Just for the record, she supports Xi Jinping.
Oh yeah, she loves the new Chinese emperor Xi Jinping.
We have her on. We have her recorded, saying that she would prefer to have Xi Jinping rule Taiwan.
Then Tsai Ing-wen.
I didn't
Saying
say
the current
that.
president.
I didn't say
I have the recording and I can pull it out.
I like how before Abby walked in, we hadn't hit the red line on the levels, and right when Abby walks in, we hit red.
Even though she's across the
See,
room.
Abby, you can't sit. You need to sit at the dining. You need to sit at the dining room table if you're going to be over here, because your laugh alone is redlining the podcast. Then you have to control your. I know. 我告诉你麦更多啦。干嘛 ？Okie dokie。
I mean,
我还有百味在里面，可以喝啊。Oh, sorry everyone for derailing our conversation.
she's just a distraction.
Anyway, what I would say is that I think I don't know.
Bernie is a communist.
Well, I love Bernie, and he's not a communist, and he's not even a socialist. So he's a
liberal Republican.
he's a social democrat. He's
He's an independent that caucuses with the Democrats, but really votes with the Republicans most of the time.
Yeah, okay. But no, he's what I would say is probably he's the best politician right now in terms of everything. But he's
What about Son though?
Abby, your alcoholic tendencies are taking our line over the red again. Say what?
What about his son?
His son. Who? Bernie Sanders' son?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Bernie Sanders' son.
He was running for office.
Where was he running for office?
Probably Vermont, like his father.
Yeah, for what? Like a congressional seat, or
Pretty
just
sure,
for like
yeah. I forget his name.
Bernard Sanders the Third. Who knows? I don't know. I would have to see his policies. It's all
I
about.
picture Bernie Sanders being married.
It's all about policies. There was another cannon fire downstairs.
I feel like Bernie Sanders is married to America.
Have you? He is. He's totally married to America. You've seen his wife though, Jen, right?
Nope.
I've seen her a few times because the Republicans tried to bring up that ridiculous scandal of.
I've heard of her.
Yeah, her like trying to. What was it? It was something with a school. I actually don't. I don't remember enough to bring it up. But,
I remember hearing about it.
yeah, and I love when like I know like for a while like on Alex Jones's channel, they would like keep, and a lot of those the like hardline Republicans will like bring up like, oh, he's a socialist, but he has like 3 houses. Like, how is he a socialist? It's like, well, he's not a socialist, and he's also never said anything about owning multiple houses, or like he's like flat out come out and said like I'm a capitalist. Like I'm very about capitalism. I'm just pushing for like certain social programs that like basically everyone in the world has, like in all these like quote unquote developed nations, whatever exactly that means, but like it's ridiculous.
Okay, so his son is his son is named Levi Sanders.
They call him Levi.
Sorry, my grammar's getting mixed up with Chinese.
Well, that's alright. That's what happens when you've been here for long enough and all you hear is people speaking it as a second language.
His father hasn't endorsed him yet, though. But he's also old like his father. He's not a young looking man.
I feel like Bernie Sanders came out of the womb with like a comb over. He's just an old man. He's always been an old man.
Levi Sanders.
Oh yeah, he does look pretty old.
He looks
He's
significantly older than my father.
Super handsome man.
He's probably also in his 80s or whatever.
Yeah. Bernie's like 106. Now Bernie's what, 72, I think? 72, 73?
Yeah, but this guy looks way older than the 40 something. Unless Bernie Sanders had his son when he was like 18. This guy is at the youngest, like 53, and he looks like he's 69. Not to be insulting to his appearance, but
yeah, that's not body shame, Ari. No, he does look moderately old.
I mean, he's got a lot of interracial kids. I think he adopted. I'm just saying that because all of his children have diverse faces.
Oh, Ari, this is borderline racist. Are you being a racist right now?
Look at the picture. Anyone who looked at the picture would say the same thing.
Well, they definitely look all like they might all be related. I don't know. I don't like to.
Let's just say they're not genetically related.
I don't like to. Oh, you mean the parents and the kids?
Yes.
I would say yes. That's absolutely fair to say. But I'm not one to assume ethnicity or race. Just like Yeah, we lost the Kavanaugh thread as we usually do. Sorry. Also, again, sorry about the noise, but I had to open the door a little bit because it's getting stuffy in here. So if you hear some crowd noise, that's just people cheering for us as we podcast.
It'll cover up the sounds of me eating peanuts.
That's true. Yeah, good point. So basically, yeah, Flake. I remember earlier we were talking about they were in the little intermission. Flake talked to some of the other senators, I guess, and also I'm sure most people have seen. There's a video of him getting, I guess, for lack of a better word, heckled by two women.
I heard about that.
As he was getting on an elevator, two sexual assault victims, and they were basically like, yeah, I think one of them said like, I don't want to mischaracterize them, but I think one of them said I never came forward, and one of them said because she was scared, and one of them said I did come forward and no one believed me, basically. And they were like, you're about to just let this guy get on the Supreme Court. Excuse me. This like alleged sexual assaulter without like giving him like any sort of investigation, just like a simple background check.
Public. They shouldn't have. I think the saddest thing about this is the Republicans make it sound like this has been politicized, which I admit, like the fact that Nancy Pelosi had the letter for a little while, and maybe that aspect was politicized. Although I'm sure they were probably trying to figure out for a while what to do with it. But the problem is they brought it to the chamber, and instead of saying, okay, fine, this is new information, let's delay it a couple weeks, let's have an investigation, they immediately repoliticized it. They said, no, it doesn't matter the content of it. We'll have this one hearing one day, listen to her one time. Yeah. And then we'll decide. And then what did they expect to happen? Like,
yeah,
she was going to change her story?
Of course, yeah.
So they heard her, and then they basically gave her a middle finger.
I think they hired that, what was the sexual crimes attorney or prosecutor. They got her, and I think they figured that like this would make them look better. It's not a bunch of old school, very conservative white men yelling at some lady that said she got that's accusing their nominee of sexual assault. And so they figured that would be it. She would get grilled and she would crumble, and then it would be over. But she didn't. She basically stuck with her story, and she was very confident, and she gave a super...
They didn't attack her that hard either, which is good. I mean, they shouldn't have attacked her. But
yeah, she's a sexual assault, and if they did
I watched victims of the Anita Hill shit. Yeah, they're basically trying to pick her apart. They're like, so how long have you been a liar?
Yeah. Well, it's disgusting. Oh, and speaking to that, if you want to talk... Like, Brett Kavanaugh is coming out with all this stuff that he's like, I feel so attacked, and I don't think you should be bringing up like my sexuality or like these sexual things in court. Like it's very uncomfortable saying things like that. And I saw
he was in charge. He was in a major party to the Kenneth Starr investigation.
And
Bill Clinton and his cum stains.
You should look at the questions he asked Bill Clinton. He asked Bill Clinton. He said, if Monica... I can't remember if he said if or like... but he basically said... I'm paraphrasing a little bit because I'm not exactly sure on the exact wording. But he said, if Monica Lewinsky claimed that you ejaculated in her mouth twice... ejaculated in her mouth twice... in the Oval Office, would she be lying? And they asked her, like, if Monica Lewinsky said that you put a cigar in her vagina, would she be lying? And, like, all this stuff. And it's just like, and then you come at it and be like, oh, poor me, like, they're attacking me because I allegedly raped someone.
If his daughters grew up and read the transcripts of the investigation he was involved in, they would be equally disturbed by the kind of things that were going through his head.
Well, and not only that, but you have people like
let the investigation run.
That's one of the reasons why I texted you whatever I texted you about Ted Cruz last night, which I don't remember my exact wording. It was basically like I basically said something like I fucking hate Ted Cruz because I do. He's a snivelly little whiny.
Sniveling coward.
He is.
Can't go after Heidi.
Yeah. You're a sniveling coward, Donald, and leave Heidi the hell alone. Me. I'm Ted Cruz, me.
Just like, he's so... I stole that from one of the guys I watch on YouTube, by the way. That's what he always does for his Ted Cruz impression. He just goes, I'm Ted Cruz, me. Because that's what he is, man. He's such a fake, garbage politician. And that's why he's in Texas right now, as a Republican, potentially going to get beat by Beto. Beto versus Beta. Ted Cruz Beta Cuck. It's ridiculous.
Getting into all kinds
but anyway, yeah. But anyway,
what ethnicity is Beto O'Rourke? Because I looked at that.
He looks like a white guy. I don't know.
He looks pretty white.
He looks super white.
But what's with the name Beto? Where's that from?
I don't know. It could be like a. I would guess it's some sort of like.
I'm asking because I need to know the ethnic context of every single politician before I can evaluate their politics.
I would assume that it would be Latinx.
Because I'm a constructivist. I need to understand how their identity is constructed before I can understand their voting.
Are you an identity politics guy?
I think that identity should be kept out of politics, but I think it's in politics. So.
I think to some degree it's important because representation is important.
But I wouldn't vote my race, or I wouldn't vote my.
No,
gender.
I think voting simply for that is what identity politics is, and I think that's why identity politics falls short. Because so if you were to see like a debate between Candace Owens and Bernie Sanders, Candace Owens is some like PragerU, like, you know what PragerU is?
Pregnant Utah.
Yeah, it's basically a fake university in California that like they like just produce all this like propaganda for the right. It's insane. But they basically pay like gay people, like they'll pay like Milo Yiannopoulos, who's like he's homosexual, and Candace Owens is like a black woman, and they'll come out and say all these things like, well, you know, slavery was like not that bad, and like they'll do all this stuff that like she just put out a video. Candace Owens, I just saw her. She had this video that she's like, the Democrats created slavery, and she said all this stuff that's true. But then
that's not true.
Yeah, it is. No, well, I mean,
Democrats did not create slavery.
The Democrats did not create slavery, but the Republicans were the people that like basically were like on the side of stopping slavery. And she says all
what
of
is that? That has like 0% to do with anything. The Republican Party of the 1800s.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying is she goes along, says all these facts like, oh, you know, the Democrats voted for this bill. The Democrats voted against the Civil Rights Bill. Blah 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 blah. And then she gets to Johnson.
The Democrats passed the Civil Rights Bill.
But that's the thing is she gets to Johnson.
Some Democrats voted against.
But she gets to Johnson and the passing of the Civil Rights Bill, and she basically stops. Because that's where the political realignment happened, and that's when the Dixiecrats flipped to go Republican, and that's when all the KKK members and the racist pieces of trash in America went to the Republican side. Not to say that every Republican is a racist, of course not, but it's switched, and she fails to acknowledge that, and that's because she's paid to basically be like a blumbering idiot that just says whatever they want. It's the same thing with Milo Yiannopoulos. I don't even think most of these people believe what they're saying. They're just getting a paycheck.
I'm still fascinated by the Southern switch because I don't understand how, like, within a matter of maybe 20 years, the entire north and south of the, I mean, not the north, because, well, to some extent it was. The northeast and the southeast basically completely switched political alliances. Where you had the white northeast basically previously voting Republican and switching after Kennedy to majority Democrat and vice versa.
Yeah.
And it was all because of Kennedy. I mean, Kennedy, it has to do with Catholics voting pro-Democrat for a long time, and then Kennedy switching that to the Northeast. But I don't understand why the South switched, just because of the Civil Rights Act, because that's the explanation I've heard, but there must be some other cultural because civil rights didn't affect that many white people in the 1960s and 70s.
In the South, it affected a lot of them because a lot of them were super racist.
In the 50s, maybe, but in the 60s and 70s, no. In the 60s and 70s,
That's the 60s and 70s is when the Civil Rights Act was happening. That's when the Black Freedom movement was in its
60s.
swing.
Okay, but I would say the last major election where the South basically switched was over Carter, and the 1970s were like not a time where they were trying to pass all kinds of civil rights things.
But there was still a huge amount of like racist animosity going on in the South. I mean, it's still very racist in parts of the South, like extremely racist.
But I would argue that the majority of the people who switched their votes did it for cultural reasons, not because of outright racism. Like I would say, the majority of people who vote Republican in like.
So what would you say those cultural reasons are? I would say it relates.
Deep, man.
I would say it relates to race.
I would say it relates to their idea of their own cultural identity as Southerners and all the things that it entails, whether or not racism is bundled in that.
I think racism is. I mean, not always, but I think a large percentage of the time when people identify as Southerners, there is some sort of racism bundled in that because you usually get those people that say, "I'm not racist," but they fly a Confederate flag, and they say, "I'm not racist, but like,
that's also
my
so complicated.
My great grandpappy was a Confederate soldier, and we should respect them too." No, we shouldn't. Your great grandpappy was a traitor, and I don't think you're a bad person because of what your grandfather did. I'm sure my great grandparents owned slaves, and for that, I think they're terrible people. But that doesn't mean that you get to defend your great grandpappy. It doesn't mean that he's a good person just because he's related to you. No, that's bullshit.
If you can choose to buy into a narrative where you can respect your ancestors and that's okay and it's like an honorable thing to do, or you can just throw that all in the trash. Be like, my culture's shit. I was wrong, and for the past like 200 years you've been worshiping demons.
I get it. And
why would you pick your?
But I think that's where people have to learn how to be nuanced. You have to go, okay. I know. Asking for nuance. I know asking for nuance is like, asking for something that's impossible. It's a Sisyphean task. But at the same time, that's what we have to work towards. Is for nuance. Okay, maybe your grandpappy did do some good things. Maybe your great grandpappy like helped develop like his city or something. Sorry, the garbage trucks are driving by, so you get to hear some beautiful music. Maybe your great grandpappy did do some good things, but maybe he's also a racist piece of trash. So you say, I like some things that he did, and some of the things they did were abhorrent. But that's what you have to get to. And if you can't get to that, then I have to reject you whole cloth. Because if you're just going to say, if it's all tied together and you can't unpackage it, then I can't support you in that. And you're just wrong. You're wrong because you're so tied to this ideology that's completely flawed that I can't get on board with you.
Are you talking about the ideology of continuing to support like these Southern imagers, or which ideology? Or
just because I think a lot of times it comes as a whole package and people can't separate it. So if you have to take that whole package, then I have to say no. I can't agree with you.
I would partially agree with you. I would say that a lot of them. I would say that some of them, at least, accept that there's fault on the South, but some of them, I don't know. It's culturally weird, man. My sister went to school in
South Carolina, right?
in North Carolina, and like basically even the school curriculum, like the way that they teach the Civil War was not that. Basically, that it wasn't slavery centric.
Yeah.
That the Civil War was like about states' rights, and it was like a rebellion, and some of these states were like kind of unwilling participants. Especially North Carolina.
Even in the Midwest,
Virginia was above us, and South Carolina was below us. They know what we were supposed to do. They don't want to accept responsibility for their errors.
Yeah, even in the Midwest, it's similar because we have. I would get things like that where it's kind of like, it was about states' rights. It really wasn't about slavery.
That's culturally common, man. Look at Japan, still not accepting responsibility for some of the atrocities.
It's true. It takes time. It takes time to get past those things, but I think we're getting to that point. Thankfully, I think. So, I'll compound onto what you said. Is I would also get.
When you talk about this kind of stuff, also that you have to be nuanced in dealing with it too. Because it can't be just like you got to tear these statues down and forget the Confederacy. It was a big pile of garbage. Blah 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 blah. Because these people, right or wrong, these people grew up thinking that the Confederacy was like a valid and important part of their own heritage
Yeah.
and history.
Yeah.
And then to turn around and say that it's all garbage and basically you need to forget about it and you're a piece of trash.
I wouldn't.
They'll rebel against it.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
get
of course,
angry
of
instead
course.
listening.
Yeah, I agree. When you talk to these people, of course, you have to be.
It's not only talking; it's the messaging. When they tear these statues down, they can just be like, "This person is a piece of garbage, and we're gonna go dump this statue in the ocean."
That's what I'm saying. I think most reasonable people and most people in general on the left, there are of course like people that are just like F this is stupid. We should melt this statue down and build some build some other monument. But I would
in a museum of
that's what
history.
that's exactly what I would say is, okay, take the statue out of a public place because these people they're traitors. They are traitors to the United States. They're absolutely 100% traitors. And I think if you don't agree with that, I think you're wrong, because they tried to take over the United States, and they went to war with the United States.
See, that's all a little nuanced because basically they tried to separate from the United States, and then the North declared war on them. That's what they would argue.
That's fair. But
They tried to fracture the United States. That's an even way of saying it.
they did, but they did it under the guise that people should own people, and I think that's something that I would be willing to go to war over is like slavery. So
Okay, fair
it
enough.
is nuanced. I agree with you. It's probably more nuanced than I mentioned in my last statement. But to your point, I would agree with you. I think those things should be taken down. They should be put. You can put it in a museum. You
And
can
like the one they have here, where you can see all the Chiang Kai-shek statues.
Yeah, that's another thing is, there's a lot of statues like that around here that a lot of, especially younger people are saying, like, that guy's a murderer, like, I don't want to
There
run
was one
money,
at
blah,
the
blah.
university before. We were talking about it the other day.
Mhm.
They like tore it down, and I assume it's just in Suhu now, just like sitting, waiting for Abby to take selfies with it.
She's like, I love genocidal maniacs.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's for people that don't know, who is Chiang Kai-shek?
Jiang Jieshi. Right?
Yeah, Chiang Kai-shek.
Did I say it right, Abby?
对啊，蒋介石，
That's what I said. Jiang Jieshi.
对啊，
In the 1920s, he took over the control of the KMT from Sun Zhongshan.
Sun Zhongshan, Sun Yat-sen.
And then he basically destroyed modern China and took it into an unwinnable civil war with the communists, in which he utterly lost control of the mainland and had to flee to Taiwan, where he subjugated the native peoples of Taiwan and the Nanren, who were originally here. I'm just saying this in order to piss Abby off.
It's
You
I'm
gotta
saying it's
record
very
it.
it's somewhat true. We're recording it right now.
It's a very slanted version,
Are you
okay?
gonna delete it later?
No, we're not deleting
Basically,
this.
he presided
We're
over a
deleting
military dictatorship which lasted until the 1980s in Taiwan, in which tens of thousands of people were murdered on his personal orders. That's a fact, Abby.
It's true. He's definitely got blood on his hands. But that's what I'm saying is that's what I was getting at with that is that's another example of like a very mixed cultural figure. It's like he did a lot of good things. Like he created one of my favorite countries, if not my favorite country. Like it's up there in my top 2 between America. It's also one of the 3 countries I've been to be fair. But
Whoa!
I've only been to 3 countries. But
In trouble.
it's one of my favorite countries, and like it's my home right now. He created this country, but he didn't do it in the greatest way. It's the same thing with a lot of founding fathers. Like they had a lot of great ideas. They created a beautiful democracy, but it's flawed. And a lot of them, like Thomas Jefferson, owned and raped slaves. But no, he clearly raped his slaves and did a bunch of terrible stuff. So
The thing that I'm most angry about him for is what I heard basically is that the United Nations in the 1970s was basically ready to give 2 different seats. They were ready to give a seat to the People's Republic of China and to the whatever Republic of China, like Taiwan, China. And he's like, no, all China is ours. So they're basically go, well, you lose.
yeah.
And then they just gave the seat to the People's Republic of China, and Taiwan just lost.
And now Taiwan is in this sort of limbo state where it is de facto it is a state. It's got a president. It's got free elections, and it is what it is. But now we can't even.
真的很无聊哎。现在 focus on your
Yeah.
Your
So Ari can't focus on the
podcast.
podcast right now because he's got to bully Abby.
You should,
That's a lie.
you should focus on your podcast.
Yeah. Ari's in the Trump right now. Just
Fake news. This is fake
It's
news.
factually incorrect.
that's too.
You know how many women have accused me of this before?
You know how many women have accused me of throwing paper onto their computer before? I will not stand by this.
All right. So. So. All right. Anyway, so connecting the stupid thing that I just brought up, which is Trump.
How did we even get on this topic?
I don't know. We're rambling. We're rambling a lot right now. But that's what
Pizza.
That's what makes this all fun. So, but in relation to Trump and what we were talking about earlier is Kavanaugh. Oh, because we got on this because we were talking about Southern identity and what all that.
That was good. That was a good tangent. I like that.
That's a good tangent.
What we should talk about now is aliens.
Oh man, we're talking about aliens.
Because aliens are not real.
We are not.
See?
We are gonna get. We're gonna get on. We're tangential. This is the
Okay.
podcast number 2, tangential podcast. All right, so you say no. Really? Is that really your stance?
I would say that there are probably some microbial life forms, maybe outside of Earth, but I don't think there's any evidence that there's any intelligent alien life form ever. Would you agree with that, Abby? Okay, well then.
So what do you think?
You just
What do you
can't
think?
agree that there is someone smarter than you.
Well,
Right?
there's no one smarter than my husband. All right, Abby, are you gonna actually get involved in this? Because I'll fix the mic so we can all talk.
You said that
There
there's
we go.
such thing as aliens, supposedly, which we both know is patently false.
Abby's
Means
just
it's a lie.
Ari's just gaslighting so hard right now.
Why? What do you think is why?
Why do you think that there are intelligent aliens?
Intelligent to what degree? Intelligent to the same. Intelligent to the same level as a dog, or like intelligence to the same level as a person, or
Intelligent as like as
It's
a
the same for
person,
some
no.
people.
why?
Yeah, why do you say that? What are you basing that off of? What's your evidence? You're just guessing.
No, I'm not guessing. It's not my evidence. I just like read some articles, like some news
From who?
from some scientists.
And, oh,
Saying what?
What did they say?
Some scientists.
And what did the
or
scientists say?
And do you think that?
Were these scientists in a comic book or in a real book?
Oh,
In
is
the
it,
real
oh
book.
the I know the alien's name. It's Clark Kent.
She doesn't know what I'm talking about. Abby, keep going. You saw you saw a scientific journal. They were talking about the existence of aliens that are smarter than people.
I don't know. I just like believe that there are aliens.
What are you
And
basing?
how about that those things like
The pyramids.
Like pyramids, yeah.
Oh,
Like
here we go.
pyramids or
Here we
like
go.
a circle on the ground. What is
Yeah,
that?
you're talking about crop
We're
circles.
talking about cop cycles.
crop cycles. So
Is that name?
crop circles.
Crop circle.
No, cop cycle.
I know what cycle is.
I know what cycle is. All right, so
So is that your evidence?
that's all. That's all.
Not my evidence. I just believe. I don't think like people can, human beings can do that.
What do you mean? We built much taller buildings than that. We built
I
Taipei
built
Listen,
one
right now,
online.
yeah, but
You can tell this is my husband because we said the same thing at the same time.
but is that right now? Those things are built from like couple hundred years ago.
Not a
I
couple,
mean, like,
not a couple hundred years ago. Abby.
I mean pyramids.
Yeah, the pyramids were thousands of years ago.
Yeah,
for the record.
thousands of years
Is the-
ago.
Yeah.
Abby, have you heard of a big church in France called the Notre Dame? It's very tall, it's very beautiful, and it was built all by hand, not with aliens.
It's a big, beautiful church.
Do you have evidence?
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
There's quite a bit of documentation about the.
there's
the
definitely
church of Notre
documentation
Dame.
about the construction of the Notre Dame.
But I saw some news like on TV. They say actually the NASA from like in America they have some secret document about aliens.
That's all conjecture. That's like some Alex Jones garbage. All right, so
I thought you would be on her side.
So
on
no.
this.
This is what I'm getting ready to come in here, but I would argue from a more logical standpoint. I would argue, yeah, there probably are aliens with similar intelligence to humans, but what I would
Whoa, what are you basing that off of?
I would just the likelihood because of how vast the universe is.
Okay.
I mean, look at how vast our
and then
look
is
at
it-
how vast our galaxy is, and then look at how vast the universe is. Unfathomable that there is not some sort of intelligent life, either whether slightly less or slightly more intelligent than
completely
humans.
lost Abby.
But what I would say is that you have to look at things. Abby,
Abby,
can
are
you
you gonna
engage in the
I'm
podcast?
listening. I'm listening.
No, you're
I'm
not.
doing my things.
I'm doing my thing.
Oh my gosh.
Abby, you getting
But I thought like.
All right, so here's the thing. What I would argue is that I don't think there are aliens like you would see in Star Wars and Star Trek, where they are so more developed than us that they're flying UFOs. Because I
They
usually
would be flying UFOs.
they would, well, for us it would be UFOs. For
Okay.
them it would be IFOs. So, but what I would say is that when you get to that level, you run into. You guys know do you know what the Fermi paradox is?
Is it something that like if they get intelligent enough they'll destroy themselves?
Yeah, basically the likelihood of
It's not Fermi who invented that, is it? That would be really
I don't
sad.
know if he's actually the one that invented it, but that's what it's called. It's called the Fermi paradox. But
Fermi was like a physicist and like a really respectable guy. Not talking about aliens for the record.
all right, but yeah, I think it was basically like they were. It came from the story is like it came from like they would eat lunch and like sometimes they would talk about aliens just like as like banter.
Who's
like
they?
just some scientists. And so, like, basically one day they were talking about it, and he was basically like, yeah, this is, again, I don't know exact same story. You can find the article on Google, but he basically said, like, it's unlikely that
it was invented by Fermi. That's so
Yeah.
sad.
No, it's good. I mean, he's talking about it. It's just...
Well,
it's-
for the
it's-
record,
it's
they
a-
were talking at lunch while working at the Los Alamos National Laboratory.
Yeah. So...
What's
So there you go. But that's the basically for listeners who don't know what the Fermi paradox is, you can Google it, which is what I would suggest, but a basic rundown of it is that a society, once it gets so developed, similar to where ours is at a point, basically they develop weapons that can destroy, or something that can destroy their own population, or they develop so fast that they have things like climate change that destroy their population before they're able to go to another planet. So that's why we've never actually seen aliens visit this planet, is because once you get to that level, you eventually destroy your own planet because you're so developed and
just like
you have
Indiana
so many,
Jones and the
so
Crystal
many
Skulls?
Yeah, exactly. You look at that, or you look at the Ark of the Covenant, and your eyes just bleed from your head.
I was listening to a podcast the other day talking about the physical Ark of the Covenant. That's pretty cool. Let's not get off on that tangent. Let's keep talking about aliens.
So do you believe like Armstrong?
Who's Armstrong?
Armstrong was Armstrong, the first one we hit on the moon.
Yeah, why?
You're talking about Chris Armstrong.
Do I believe him personally? I don't know him, Abby.
What did he
Do you believe him that he had like contact? He saw aliens.
Who did he say that, or did you say that?
I did that. You can Google it. It's from NASA document.
Yeah, NASA documents that
Yes.
Neil Armstrong had interactions
Yes.
with aliens. I don't know what news you're reading, Abby.
That sounds completely fictional.
That's not fictional. That's true.
Okay. Here's from Live Science. This story claiming Buzz Aldrin, a different astronaut, saw aliens in space is utter nonsense.
Well, Buzz Aldrin, it was either Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong. Someone was said that the moon landing was fake, and he punched him in the face. So I have serious issues with that. I would have to see some actual documentation of them saying that. And even if they said that, that's one person's conjecture. It's a lot of people can say that. A lot of people have been to the International Space Station, and just because one of them said that they're aliens doesn't mean I believe it.
Pantheonian.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Should we describe this? What happened for our
No.
podcast listeners?
No.
Alright. I'll let you slide by with that one, but don't let it happen again. Anyway. So Ari, you really think only microbial exist? And
That's not what I'm saying in the entire universe. I'm saying there's no way to know. I'm definitely.
Of course, there's no way to know. There is eventually a way to know if we expand far enough, but
I'm fairly confident that they haven't visited Earth yet,
Okay, yeah, that's why I agree. That's why I brought up the Fermi paradox, because that's basically how I feel about it. I think the statistical likelihood of there being an intelligent life somewhere in the universe is incredibly high. But I don't think that they visited Earth. I don't think that there are UFOs always visiting the Earth and things like that. So I feel like we're pretty much in agreement for the most part.
Man, if you look at like the conditions of most planets, even in the solar system, most like let's say satellites, not even planets, like a moon or something.
Yeah.
Most of them are so incapable of hosting life, even basic life.
It's true, but the NASA has already found planets that are basically resemble Earth's conditions.
Yeah, I've heard of a couple of them, and there are so many millions of light years away.
Yeah. That's the thing, is I'm not saying that they would visit the Earth because of the Fermi paradox, and I'm also not saying that likely that all of them have life or intelligent life, and it's also not likely that there are a ton of these planets everywhere. But just because of, if you said, is there intelligent life somewhere else in the universe, I would say almost without a doubt there probably is.
It's possible.
It's possible, yeah. At least we have to admit that it's possible. I'm not saying I know for sure, because no one knows. It's the same thing as if you get into like a religious argument. There's no evidence for any of it, so it is what it is. It all gets into conjecture and feelings and thoughts from there. So.
Yeah, but so many people. For instance, I mean, the most popular thing is like people have a UFO sighting or something like that, which is fairly common. They'll see something in the sky, whatever.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's confirmed, sometimes it's not. Sometimes the news talks about it, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes they find other people who saw it, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And they just conflate that into I saw aliens and now I believe in aliens and I
Yeah.
think the government is always lying.
Well, that's a lot of things. A lot of people don't want to actually think
Why?
rationally about some phenomenon that they've seen.
Did I say they're lying?
He's not saying that they're lying. He's saying that they're conflating two things. They saw some sort of phenomenon. They saw some sort of weird thing, and then they.
She doesn't know the word conflate.
You know, conflate, Abby. They just say
They're mixing them
they're
up.
mix the two. Do you know phenomenon?
Yeah, I know for now.
So like maybe you see a bright light in the sky, you don't know what it is, and then you see it on the news later, like it must have been an alien. It must have been an alien, and now that the government didn't put it on the news, the government is lying to me.
Well, that's the thing, is because our government is so inept, and they are liars. So everyone wants to think that everything that they say is a lie, and it's not.
The fact that they're inept means that they would never be able to cover up something successfully.
See, when we get into conspiracy theories, that's where I totally agree with you. Our government is so stupid. Look at our president right now. Not my president. I live in Taiwan. Not my president.
Not my president. My president's still Obama.
No, Obama's
president
Obama's,
Hillary Clinton.
Obama's pretty garbage too, and yeah, Hillary Clinton is also pretty garbage.
My president
worse
is Xi
than Obama.
Jinping.
Worse
My
than
president is Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, yours is.
Your
definitely
president's
Xi
been
Jinping.
dead for 150 years.
Your president probably
So
doesn't.
what?
Your
So what?
he doesn't have. He's not a very good ruler if he's been dead for 100-something years.
You got weird ass marks on your leg.
Where?
On your knees.
All right, let's not get distracted
Anyway,
by
yeah,
Abby's weird skin patterns.
Let's not get distracted by Abby's skin flaws. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's
你们真的很贱。
yeah. It's ridiculous.
If your audience listen to it, what would they think?
It's ridiculous to think that
Why
like.
these people do it?
Calm down. People are gonna listen to this and they're gonna love it. Love you guys that are listening to this. If you've listened this far, love you. But yeah, I don't think
Almost an hour.
I don't think that our government is capable of pulling off some sort of like the whole like Pizzagate thing and all the Alex Jones stuff of like
Pizzagate's true.
blah. Yeah, okay. Good point. No, but that's the thing, is there are quality things of like allegations of like child sexual assault. Like look at like things that have happened in the Catholic
With
Church.
Alex Jones?
Look at no. Alex Jones doesn't talk about those things because he's a fraud.
Because Alex Jones committed child sexual assault.
Oh my God.
Well, I think that's probably why he keeps talking about it.
It could be possible, but I think he's just an actor. I literally okay.
He's a crisis actor.
If we're gonna talk about Alex Jones, and the two possibilities, he's either a giant fraud or I feel really bad for him and he has some sort of serious mental illness. And like I think that he should be evaluated and taken care of.
No, he's just a fucking actor.
That's what his lawyer argued in the
He's
in
like
the court
PewDiePie.
proceedings.
Yeah.
Like PewDiePie.
He's basically PewDiePie.
We're going for PewDiePie now.
on radio. He just wants
At
attention.
least PewDiePie just talks about video games. He doesn't talk about like children being crisis actors and like get the
Didn't he
victim
say
the
something
victims
similar?
of PewDiePie.
Yeah, he said something really controversial recently. He was like talking about like
He's talked about like Nazi.
reinstituting the
He's
Nazis.
talked about like Nazi stuff and stuff like that, but he's always just said he's joking, and who knows if that's true or not. But like,
Wow, there's a party going on down there. We should probably go down.
I don't want to go down there, man. It's
There's
way
too many
it's
people.
way too
Are
late
they
to go down
dancing?
there. No, they're probably all just sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
All right, for all our listeners, I'm sorry that this is gone.
Old people sitting around listening.
Yeah,
to, like,
I
club
told
music.
you. I told you. They're just chilling down there, and it's supposed to be some safety message. It's
Yeah.
probably just a bunch of girls in bikinis like walking around like telling you not to run with scissors or something. Anyway, what I was gonna say is I'm sorry to our listeners that this has been so derailed by rude interruptions of people that just walk into our apartment, and I hope you've all enjoyed what we've done so far, and that the quality of the podcast has been at least somewhat decent. We'll be back in a little bit with part 2. I don't
About
know.
PewDiePie.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll be talking all exclusively about PewDiePie. I don't know exactly when these will be uploaded, but maybe
We should talk about the Bureau of Land Management.
You're loving that BLM stuff.
Like, you know why, right? Like,
No.
the biggest thing is their, like, little altercation with that rancher guy. That got
Oh,
blown
Clive
up.
and Bundy.
I think so.
Yeah, it's definitely Clive and Bundy.
yeah.
All right, let's get into it. What do you want to talk about, Clive and Bundy? He's
First, I want to go down and dance with these old people.
Oh my god.
all right. So
You say pause.
like I said, there'll be a part 2 of this that we'll record tonight. I don't know if you'll get it the same day
Crisis act.
of us pushing it out, but Ari is going to continue to interrupt me here. So yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Sodomite.
Love you, and I don't think any of you guys are sodomites. So love you. Bye.
I'm talking about.